Sir, this is urgent.
Okay. May I ask what it's regarding?
It's regarding a dispute that I currently have, and it's this huge drama. I need a supervisor ASAP, please.
One moment. Hi there, Albert.
Yes.
I apologize about the wait. I do have a supervisor here on the line, and she'd be happy to speak to you further.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yes, okay.
You too. Thank you. Hi there.
Hello, Albert. This is Tiara. How are you today?
Not too good, but thank you for asking, Tiara. It's Tiara like the crown tiara?
Yeah.
Hi, Tiara. Let me give you my credit card number. I have a disaster. It's 47...
Yeah, and what's going on your account?
Okay, could you please pull up the notes on my account? We have a mess. And this is regarding All Valley Paralegal Service.
Okay.
Okay, I just got a letter today, because I checked the box today, that's dated September 25th. Now, I did check the box last weekend, and this was not my box. Now, I see this letter is now rebilling me for this amount, and this is incorrect. My initial response to this chargeback that I initiated was in August, and that was because the vendor abandoned all communication for the lawsuit that I have going on. And I turned around and gave her a 30-day notice, and she did not respond to that. And then I basically hired an attorney, and I fired this woman, and she went all ballistic on me. And I wound up having to serve her with a restraining order as I was getting extreme harassing calls. I was getting all these faxes at the last minute so she can build up a case. Because I told her, if you don't give me a refund, I'm going to file a dispute with my bank, a chargeback. And that's when she went off the deep end and started sending me all this paperwork. Now, the plot thickens. She got out of hand, and I filed a restraining order against her. And she also served me with small claims. I have a court case with her. She's trying to get this money, this $1235, via small claims. And you know what my response to all this is? You know what? She already filed for small claims. Let the judge handle it. I can send you guys the small claims paperwork if you'd like. Now, she also tried duplicating these charges, because once you filed and did the initial credits, she turned around and she tried to rebill me again. And that was the rebilling on August 22nd. And she also tried doing a third attempt. This is why my card was changed. And I signed the affidavit, and I hope you guys are not going to rebill me for this $1235. I'm already going to small claims for it.
Well, I can understand why you're stressed. I can hear that it's a very stressful situation.
I mean, look, the woman went way out of hand. First off, she abandoned all communication on my case. I had no other choice but to fire her. I gave her an option. She did not elect that option. I mean, you just you don't have a client and avoid phoning him, returning his calls, his emails for 30 days. You just don't do that in a business like this. I mean, I have a lawsuit that I have to keep moving. Otherwise, they lay sanctions on me for not keeping the case moving. That's how the court system works in California. I hired this woman to do paperwork so I can initiate a lawsuit to a person who worked for me. So I filed this paperwork. A lot of the beginning stuff that she did wrong anyway. I had to wind up doing it myself. You don't know the mess that my attorney had to go through to get all the stuff fixed. So either way, whatever little things she did in the beginning wound up having to get canceled. The court would not even accept the paperwork that she did. They were like, no, you're going to have to hire an attorney. Because I filed this as a sole proprietor, and you can't file as a sole proprietor under your business name. No, it was a technical thing. It had to be my name, DBA, and then the business. And the court would not accept it unless I hired an attorney, and that's exactly what I had to do. As for the subpoena and all the stuff that she mentions in this document, she did wrong. And then she abandons communication for 30 days. And then the moment she receives, and I sent her a postal letter saying, listen, this is what's gone on. I need you to speak to me. That was in mid-July, and I sent you guys that letter. And she doesn't reply to that letter. And that letter said, I called you already like 5 to 7 times. You told me to give you a call back. Your recording says that, blah, blah, blah. You're not feeling well. Call back on Monday. I call back on Monday. I'm being given the runaround here. I've sent you emails. Please check bulk spam and junk folder. I even have on my phone, because she does text messaging, I tell her, she says she's away to give her a call tomorrow. And I texted her back. I even have it on my phone. And yet she goes all psycho on me. I wind up having to get a restraining order. I submitted you guys the police reports in the declaration that I had to sign for you guys I sent to you last week. So that was for the chargeback I filed in was it? It was, yeah, if I'm not mistaken, was that August 22nd? Because she then tried duplicating it 2 times further after that.
In the last 6 months, what I see is there was a charge back in May, and then we dated provincial credits at the time you had disputed the charge.
Uh-huh.
And then there was another charge in August on the 27th. She gave credit.
Right.
And
okay.
then because we saw that credit probably related to the initial dispute is what we assumed it was connected to, and we reversed our provisional credit. The charge that occurred in August, you see there was a fraud case started on, and what I would need to do is I would need to reach out to those departments to find out what is happening, if there's a crediting process or where we are, because both transactions have been either part of a dispute or a fraud case already. So I can definitely check on that for you.
Either way, she's taking me to small claims, Tiara. And that's fine. I have no problem going to small claims. I would prefer the judge hears this.
Well, it may happen anyway it can. I'm not familiar with those processes, but I understand ultimately that you shouldn't be charged because of the situation. I do need to bring someone on the line from that department. I'm going to check first to see what information I can get, and then if needed, I might have to bring someone on from that department.
That's fine. Tiara, can I ask you for a favor, because I'm on a cell phone? Do you have my number, just in case we got disconnected, that you can call me back?
The issue, because I get calls constantly, is I wouldn't be able to call back right away. If something were to happen, I could certainly follow up with you, but it may be a few business days before I'm able to do that.
Oh.
I can also give you the direct phone number for that department in case something happens, because ultimately they're going to have the additional information about what has happened, either with this application or the dispute case.
Let me get a pen here. I'm going to get a pen again. So, Tiara, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm ready. I have a pen.
Okay, 1 minute. I'll make sure I pull up the correct phone number for you. So, the number that you'll be calling for the fraud case is going to be 866-821-8411.
Okay.
And I think that's the one that we really need to address. I have a feeling that, well, let me give you a number for the disputes department as well. They can transfer you, but I think we really need to start with the fraud case, which is the most recent charge. The phone number for disputes is 1-800-260.
I'm sorry, 800-260.
8469, and that was the earlier charge in May. But I'm going to do some research for you. Hopefully we don't have any phone issues so that we can resolve it for you.
So, Tiara, just to understand this a little bit more clearly, you're saying that the reason why this chargeback bounced, this dispute bounced, was because why exactly? Or that's what we're trying to determine?
Well, what I see so far, and I do need to research it further just to verify what the reasoning was, but when the charge is disputed, if the merchant provides their own credit and they're saying it's related to the dispute or if it appears to be related to the dispute, we will take back the credit we gave.
No,
so
that got confused. That got confused. Basically, I filed the chargeback in August for the charge made in May. Then the merchant, out of retaliation for seeing that there was an initial chargeback made, attempted to avoid the chargeback and charge me. That's what that second charge was for. And that third attempt, which did not go through. And that's all in the notes. Because I spoke to 2 representatives. So bottom line, if you guys charge me for this, I'm paying this woman. But either way, she served me with small claims. I'd rather just go the small claims route.
I understand, sir. Again, I do have to bring that department on the line so I can clarify.
And that's the fraud department. Is that correct?
I'm going to have to speak both to the fraud department
Yes.
and the disputes department.
I hear you. Okay.
What I see here is that she gave wrong credit, and when our disputes department sees that, and we're talking about the dispute from the May charge, we're going to take back the provisional credit that we gave. The later charge was part of a fraud case, and obviously a credit was given as part of the fraud case based on the note. So I need to find out what's happening with the fraud case and clarify if what I'm seeing is accurate, that the reversal of the provisional credit was because the credit came through and they thought it was connected to the original dispute back in May. But we'll get some more information for you and find out what options.
Are we going to have a three-way calling? Is what we're saying?
And if I need to bring them on the line, then I may have to connect you there. But I'm gonna check back with you as soon as I get some more information, find out what's going on, and then I'll connect you with the appropriate person.
But Tara, are we clear that the first charge was the one that I disputed, and then the second charge was only because the merchant tried to retaliate the chargeback? That's what that was about.
I understand what you're saying in terms of why she charged you the second time. What I see here is the way it was filed as a fraud case, which is a different process. And right now, I don't see any notes that show a credit from the fraud case for that second charge. So on the account, you got credit for one charge, and what it appears to me is that our disputes department thought the credit that she gave in August was related to the one back in
Got it.
So
Okay.
there's still one charge that was part of the fraud case in August, so I don't see any notes about what's happened with that fraud case, if there's going to be a credit or what's going on. So I need to check on that first, and I might have to check with the disputes department too.
Thank you.
So we're going to get some more information and clarify that and go from there.
Thank you.
Just need to check on that, and then I'll bring you on the line if I need to connect you to one of those departments.
Thank you, Tiara.
Okay. Thank you. I'll check back with you in a few minutes.
Thank you. Sure.
Thank you for your patience, sir. So I just checked out that department.
Sure.
What I confirmed is that there is a specific person assigned to the case that you would have to speak with. So that person is going to follow up with you by Tuesday. And I want to make sure we have a good phone number on file.
Okay.
That's the best phone number for us to have for you.
Sure. Let me just turn this car off and get outside because it's hard to hear you inside the car. It's area code 310 497 5926. Again, 310 497 5926. Is there a phone number for this person?
No, we don't have a phone number for that person. That number I gave you for the fraud department.
Is that the first one?
You can use
Is that? I'm sorry.
the first number.
Let me just get this. I'm sorry. Let me open the door. It's just hot in the car. Oops, sorry. Oh Jesus, what did I do with this? It's right here. I know I have it in my pocket. Okay. Sorry. That's 866-821-8411.
Right.
Okay.
So they're going to be reaching out to you. They might have a direct number that they can leave. I'm not sure. But there is a specific person assigned to the case that
Who's that person's
will be
name?
working with you going.
That person's name?
I apologize. I didn't get their name. So they'll be reading that when they give you a call.
This is not good, and I'll tell you why. And I do appreciate your efforts, Tiara. I was told the fraud department would be reaching out to me for this, and they never did. This is why I asked for a supervisor. I need this escalated. You know, the thing is, there was a misunderstanding in terms of which one to credit, and I asked for a supervisor. They never called back, and now I see this is manifested. This is not good. I mean, you guys asked me to sign a declaration form. I did, and I enclosed 3 police reports, plus a restraining order. Is there a supervisor there? I mean, can we go beyond the person that was assigned this, please? This is a little overkill. It really is.
I can certainly bring someone on from the fraud department, but because of the circumstance, it is going to have to be the case officer that's working with you. And
there's not a supervisor there that can attend to this because this is a disaster. And so having to wait till Tuesday at this point. No. Please get me a supervisor over there. I have filled out the paperwork accordingly. I submitted 3 police reports.
I can certainly see if the supervisor in that department is available. It is going to take me a moment.
Sure.
Able to continue holding, sir?
Absolutely.
Thank you. 1 minute.
Thank you, Tiara.
Thank you for holding, sir. We'll chat to you on
From the fraud department.
Thank you.
I'm going to see if she can get a supervisor from the fraud department.
I appreciate that. And just so you know, FYI, there's just a useful piece of information. I'm noticing I mailed and faxed the declaration on the evening of the 25th going into the day of the 26th. So I see this letter's dated the 25th. I think this letter was drafted before I got my declaration out that included the 3 police reports and all other pertinent details. So that may be... Sure.
She's going to look over, and there might be information she can share with you in
Sure.
the meantime. But
I appreciate that.
after speaking with her, if you still feel like you need to speak to a supervisor, she's going to see if one's available.
Thank you, Tiara. I appreciate that.
No problem. Have a great evening.
You too. Thank you. And I'm sorry, you said it was at Chastity?
Hello, my name is Chastity.
Pleasure meeting you.
I am in the fraud department. I just need to verify the account, and then I'll be more than happy to assist you.
Thank you, Chastity.
May I get your first and last name?
It's Albert Simic.
All right. And Mr. Simic, the address on the account, please?
Sure. 4804 Laurel Canyon Boulevard, number 226, Valley Village, California, 91607.
Thank you.
Chastity. Sure. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm a little bit fired up right now. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. And the cell phone number on the account, please.
Area code 310-497-5926.
Okay. And the last four of your social security
It's
number.
2020.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Right.
Chastity, could you do me could I ask you for a little favor?
Sure.
Could I give you my side of this story? There's a lot of details that you really should be informed of because this also involves legal cases. So if you could give me a moment to hear me out, it would really mean so much. Would that be possible?
Okay.
Thank you. This feels like a long monologue, for heaven's sakes. Okay. Look, here's the deal. In May, I hired All Valley paralegal Lorraine Schwam, and it was for a civil case for my business. Okay. Everything was going okay. However, the paperwork that the little stuff that she did, she wound up doing wrong. For example, the court threw out my case unless I got an attorney because she filed the case incorrectly. She also did the subpoena work incorrectly. I had to turn around and do that myself. From the period of July, mid-July, all the way through mid-August, Ms. Schwam did not respond to any of my phone calls. 30 days went by, and to make the situation even, to make this, the plot thickens, I even sent her a letter, and that letter told her, Lorraine, we are getting close to being able to file for default. However, the subpoenas were done wrong. I have to do it myself. I need to know what to do here because they can throw sanctions on me, which means I can get penalized if I don't keep the case moving. That's just a California state law. And she was not active at all. She basically received a postal letter from me just telling her, Lorraine, I made 5 calls already. You told me to give you a call back. What's going on here? 30 days went by. She did not respond to that letter. So I did what I had to do, keep the case proactive, and I had to wind up hiring an attorney to handle my case and firing her. And I told her, look, I'm going to give you the courtesy now. Either refund me or I'm going to dispute the charge. Fine. She turns around and goes ballistic on me. She starts faxing me over 18 times, over 250 pages, stuff that was her personal medical records, telling me that she was in the hospital, how she had an anxiety attack, the medication they gave her, police stuff, everything. And this went on and on. She even forged my signature on court documents. And that really pushed me over the edge. For her to turn around, and she did this deliberately, Chastity, because this was her way of saying, aha, if he's going to file a charge back, well then I'm going to try and show that I have proof that I did the work. She forged my signature. So I was like, you know what? The hell with this. I'm going to the police department. I filed 3 police reports that entire weekend. The first one was for forgery. The second one was for aggravated harassing phone calls. And then the third one was for violating a court order. I wound up getting a restraining order on this woman. And she violated it by having contact with me. So I lost the case for the restraining order, and she turns around and she serves me with small claims for this 1235. And I'm like, you know what? I have no problem. Let's do this in front of the judge. So, in terms of the charges here, the 1235, the first charge back was for the charge I made in May. Now, when that charge back was born, she turned around and tried to recharge my card to retaliate and dodge that charge back so she wouldn't lose that money. Mm-hmm. And that's where there's a misunderstanding. Now, you probably heard me and Tiara in the beginning of the conversation, before I said hello to you. I told her, Tiara, I think I understand what happened here, because this letter is dated September 25th. It was the evening of the 25th, which was whatever last Thursday going into last Friday was, that's when I did both.
The 26th.
That's when I faxed you guys the documents, which was that affidavit, plus the 3 police reports. And I also plopped it in the mailbox. I did both. Either way, she served me with small claims. You know what? I have no problem with that. Let the judge decide. Let the judge decide. I have no problem with that. Because I know how the small claims court system works. Either way, she already paid the money to take me to court. So let the judge decide. Now, I understand she did a rebuttal on her side, but I have the right to do a rebuttal too.
Right. Okay. So basically, it boils down to that you hired her. She did not follow through on the job. She didn't do anything.
Well, she didn't do anything, and the very little that she did wrong. It had to be refixed. Okay. You know, let me put it to you this way. It's like going in for getting your hair colored. You go to someone to color your hair blonde. It turns out green, and then you have to go to somebody else to fix the mess that the previous person did, do it correctly, and then just let the whole thing roll out the way it should be. Not only the very little that she did was it done wrong, she was very limited.
Okay. And then when you tried to get in contact with her, she was uncommunicative. And so she
30 days. 30 days. Yeah, 30, exactly. 30 days. Okay. And Chastity, I made over 5 to 6 calls. She even sent me a text message telling me that she was away. I still have it on my phone, and I texted her back, Lorraine, it's important. We need to talk. I give her a call, and I tell her basically, I asked her, are we at the default point where we can file for default? And she's like, I'm with a client right now. Can you please call me back in 10, 15 minutes? I do. And what happens is I call her and I get her voicemail. And I tell her, Lorraine, I need to speak with you. It's important. Please give me a call. She does not call me back.
So you got every communication, email, fax,
everything.
Email, voicemail,
everything.
Fax information.
I even
communication that you know the man.
Yeah, exactly. And Chastity, I have a copy. Chastity, I even have a copy of my cell phone bill. I printed it out because I want to show it to the court. That shows every call I have made to her in July. I have it. She did not reply to a single one. Look, I can understand if she would have said to me, look, Albert, I'm so sorry. My life was a living whatever, you know, a week later, maybe 2 weeks later. You know what? Even if she didn't phone me and she would have just sent me an email saying, please accept my apologies. I have a conflict going on that needs resolution. I will get back to you on X, Y, and Z, and if I can't, I'll make sure I'll let you know ahead of time. I have no problem with that. You know, you just can't turn around and give me some notice from a doctor 30 days later, you know, you had these problems. This is not second grade where I'm excusing you from homework. You know.
So she was expecting that because she had these medical conditions instead of her telling you this at this point in time, in between when you're trying to get in contact with her. Or she doesn't have a secretary, somebody that there's no communication from her.
Well, actually, technically speaking, she did have someone, but she has a higher turnover rate, higher than McDonald's and Burger King put together. She suffers from, I'm sorry to say this, and there's no PC way I can put this, she does suffer from some type of bipolar or mental disorder. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's anxiety disorder. She even sent me this letter that was some type of issue she had with some police officer that attacked her. So I don't know what to make of any of this, but I acted in the best faith possible. And, you know, for me, it's not just that I hired her for service. This is for a court service, for a civil case that I have against someone who worked for me. And bottom line is, whenever you're doing something like that, there are things that you have to follow, legally speaking. And I'm going to get a little technical with you, Chastity. There is this, I think it's called ordinance, called the California Rule 3.11, which has to do with keeping a case moving. Even if we are at the point where we can file for default, and that's what I was trying to find out from her. I was trying to find out from her two things. First off was to correct what to do here, because you see, the thing is, I requested a subpoena against a phone company, and Lorraine filed it wrong. She did it with Comcast, and it was not Comcast. It was AT&T it had to go to. I got the rejection letter from Comcast. Then, when I see she did the paperwork, you see, whenever you fill out any type of subpoena forms, if you have one piece of information wrong in that form, they have to dismiss it from their legal side. She filled out the person's date of birth incorrectly, and they rejected it. Because technically speaking, Joe, you say, you know, you need the records for Joe Smith, born January 1st, 1960. If you put down, you know, January 12th, they're like, we don't technically have a Joe Smith, born January 12, 1960, at this address. And technically speaking, that phone provider is correct. And by law, they have got to be precise.
Everything got to be on point.
Exactly, and that's what wasn't. Lorraine made so many screw-ups. I don't know if it's ADD, where she can't concentrate on what she does. But the woman literally goofed up this entire thing. I had a whole disaster, so I'm calling her, telling her, Lorraine, we had a disaster with a subpoena. I had to go down to the Glendale courthouse and fill out this paperwork again. What do I do? What is the order? It's like playing chess. You got to have everything lined up. First you make this move, then you make that other move. If I'm in the point for default, how do we use the evidence that would be used in the subpoena in this default? That's where that screwed up my case. So I had to hire an attorney. I hired an attorney. I fired this woman and hired an attorney. And then the court turns around and says to me, no, you do need to hire an attorney because the way you filled out these papers, I didn't fill them out. Lorraine filled them out. They were done wrong. And the woman, you know, as opposed to turning around and saying, you know what, I'm sorry, I screwed. And if she would have said to me, look, can we make a deal here? I would have been negotiable. In turn, she starts sending me all these faxes that are outrageous, over 200 and some odd faxes in a 24-hour period. She forges my signature. And then she turns around and starts calling me it all out.